When answering a few of the questions from the case study and what the pastor was contemplating during his two meetings, I'd say that one of the biggest things that I saw, or that I've realized over the years, is that most churches don't really have a safe place for people to go to within their church when it comes to situations like abortion. A lot of them are already dealing with guilt and shame of how they got in the situation in the first place, and then on top of that, compounding thinking of the decision get a to get an abortion can bring a lot of turmoil, not just for the woman, but also for the man that's involved. And so I think that's really hard to see that a lot of times this topic is only handled in the very negative, very condemning, fire and brimstone type of manner, and totally divorced from the ideas of forgiveness, like even the pastor was wanting to stress and love and grace that God has for those that are in situations like this. And so I feel like that there needs to be more of that. There needs to be more of a reputation within the church that is more forgiving and understanding of situations, but also still able and willing to speak truth into one another's lives. I'm not personally aware of anyone that has had an abortion, but I do know at our church we do offer groups for couples and also for individuals that are dealing with that decision that they made through guilt. And it's working with an organization here in town, the Women to Women Resource Pregnancy Center, and they help alongside our church as well to direct people that are maybe making that decision beforehand, before they go through with that decision of an abortion, or just to help them in general afterwards, to be there for them, to model what it looks like to have grace and forgiveness of one another and yourself as well. I do not believe that there is a it makes no difference whether or not there's a deformity involved within the fetus, of whether or not it's justifiable to get an abortion. I myself have a younger brother who has autism and a seizure disorder, and I still love him just as much. And I can't imagine what it would be like to not have him as a brother if my parents would have thought that would have been a justifiable reason. That doesn't mean that it's still not difficult, and that there are still maybe even more things to be thought through and to be considered when it comes to that situation of the health of the mother and of the child, for sure. But I do think that there is a better plan of action of carrying it through as long as it can be done to term, and then deciding what to do after that. As far as the ability for churches, I think there is a lack when it comes to giving resources to men in particular when it comes to the topic of abortion, and to the point to where I think that most churches probably don't even address the topic of abortion and even have the idea of the man involved. There's always some man involved, whether it's a father, like in the cases of these two studies, or a boyfriend, or a husband, or just a friend that is involved, that's a man that suggests the abortion. And so I think there should be more resources, a group where men can go to safely and be able to divulge those things, whether or not they're dealing with guilt or shame based off of that kind of idea. I think that there should be just more seminars in that sense to be able to talk through those type of things, where it's not just a woman issue, but men are heavily involved in this topic as well. And then as far as I do think the pastor handled the two cases extremely well. He was very understanding of the teenage couple with Chad and Trissa, and being able to go to their home and hopefully make them feel a bit more at ease and comfortable. And even just the ideas of being put in a very difficult situation where he was confronted about the situations after the fact and not being able to have any counsel or say in the decision making process, even one of the families being an elder. I can't imagine what the situations would be like. But I do agree with the thought process that he was going through, that there should be even maybe him making a seminar during the week to where he can address the issues of abortion and have it be a very balanced debate where it's condemning it with truth and love, but also being able to recognize the balance of grace and forgiveness, and also having these sides of it's a women and a male issue, and being able to have a seminar throughout the week where people can come to and have maybe counselors on hand to be able to address any issues and resources to be able to point people to. I think that would be extremely helpful for his situation and for most churches in general.